Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.
In a world where everyone says hello,
they dare to say,
g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, good day.
Yeah, g'day. Yes. Good day. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. Yeah. Good day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Good day.
G'day. Hey. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. G'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah. G'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone. How you going? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Yep.
Welcome to Yeah G'day, the complete guide to Australia and Australia. See what I did there? You thought I was going to put something else in.
Australia
but
and Australia.
I've just put Australia twice.
Yep.
Twice as important. I just read an article saying that the Australian dollar is set to skyrocket.
Ooh.
Not skyrocket. It's in a good position. I do a lot of business reading myself.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
And by that I mean I clicked on the article and then it was one of those ones where it's like you need to subscribe to read the rest of it. And I was like, I don't need any more information. The headline tells me all I need to know.
Things look good. I'm happy with that. I don't
The
need to know
money
the
is going up.
specifics. Yep.
Speaking of money and segues, recently I've talked about the new $2 coins that have been coming out. How much I desire one.
Yes.
Because I need money.
Yes.
To exchange
Not because
for
they're
goods and
special,
services.
just because I think they're pretty and I need some money. Yeah.
Yeah. And before I get into the end of that segue, just to set everyone up, for me today, this is the fourth episode of a podcast I've recorded. By the end of this day, I'll have recorded 6.
Yes.
So I am actually in a very good place.
He's on a roll. This is
on
number
my
one
spiritual
for me.
journey.
Honestly, I was half asleep until 15 minutes ago. So,
Yeah, so we're all here. And so the money that I would desire, the $2 coins, involves a little-known character, a bit more of an indie, pop culture reference.
Yeah.
Indie pop culture. Is that an oxymoron? Anyway, Mr. Squiggle.
Mr. Squiggle.
The man from the moon, on the moon, around the moon Man.
He lives on the moon. Whether he has citizenship or not is a topic of much debate.
Can you ever really be a citizen from the moon? Tim, Mr. Squiggle.
Yep.
Senor Squiggle, as he's known in the Spanish states.
Senor Squiggle.
Monsieur Squiggle in France.
Yes.
And
Squiggle-san in Japan.
Squiggle-san wa tensai desu.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Squiggle is a genius. Thank you.
And that is 100% true.
He said it like it wasn't, but it is.
No, I can back that up.
Stop using that tone. But Mr. Squiggle, I loved Mr. Squiggle as a kid.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was one of those shows that was on the ABC. And it just, like, when we get into it, the activities that he did and stuff are still activities that I enjoy doing today because they're quite fun.
Yes.
And the characters that were involved in the show were just, like, again, as an adult, it's like, what the fuck was I watching? None of that made sense.
Oh, yeah, no, it's crackhead stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's crackhead stuff.
One of my most exciting moments is that in year 5, I think we did the like Canberra excursion where you go like Parliament House and all that shit.
Yes.
And we went to the
Film and Sound Archives.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had Mr. Squiggle puppets there.
Yeah.
And I lost my mind and took pictures with my disposable camera, and boy did that flash ruin the pictures with the glass.
Yeah. And severely deteriorated the puppets, which is fun.
Yeah, no flash photography. What does that mean? But so I was very excited to see. I think Squiggle was there, and I think the tractor dude.
The tractor.
The moon, the orange puffy motorized.
No, but anyway,
guy.
that's okay.
Surely it's in your information.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure it will be.
Tell me about Senor Squiggle.
Mr. Squiggle. So Mr. Squiggle is both the name of the show, or there were various different names for the show over the period of time, and the titular character.
Ooh. He did have large nipples.
It was a TV show that aired on the ABC for a very long period of time as well, about 40 years.
Jesus wept.
Yes. So it was presented in various formats over that 40 years. So the first time he ever had his own show, he was actually on another show very briefly before this, but he went solo.
Solo career.
July 1st, 1959.
Right.
And the final episode was produced in 1999.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very long. So they went from like 5-minute slots.
Yep.
And at one point, he had an hour and a half variety show where he had other characters and stuff on as well. Had various name changes, but let's talk about the history.
Tell me.
Mr. Squiggle's history. So he's the central character. He was created by a cartoonist and puppeteer named Norman Hetherington.
Norm.
I don't know why I emphasized his name.
Oh, you know Norman.
As if everyone would know who
Norman
that is.
Hetherington. Did you hear me?
So he first appeared on a children's TV club on the ABC, but he was spun off. They don't give you dates for that, though. I don't know when exactly that was, but obviously prior to 1959. Spun off onto his own program, which first aired on the 1st of July 1959. So Hetherington voiced and operated all of the show's puppets.
Wow.
And his wife, Margaret, wrote the scripts. So the basic premise of the show... to give a bit of a rundown for those that don't know who Mr. Squiggle is as well, because I'm about to give you the premise of the show, but without knowing the anatomy of a Mr. Squiggle,
yes,
you're not going to understand what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Mr. Squiggle is a man who his residence was on the moon, as to the legitimacy of his citizenship. That, who owns the moon? Mr. Squiggle, potentially.
Maybe.
He was a clown-like figure.
Yep, green hair.
Green hair, some funky clown-like clothes.
Or blue hair.
It's like a greeny blue.
Aqua.
The most defining feature of Mr. Squiggle, though, is that he was the result of a horrible biological experiment, which resulted in him having a pencil for a nose.
A large, thick pencil.
A very large, thick pencil. This is all non-canon. The genetically modified stuff. This is all non-canon. This is fan fiction. But it
could be what all moon men
could be. Like. Yeah. So he lived up there on the moon. He had a pencil for a nose. That's all you need to know. He flew down on his pet rocket, which I believe the pet rocket's name was Rocket.
Yep, that checks out.
He was a creative man, but not in regards to naming. No. So what would happen? Children would send in their squiggles. So basically, these were pieces of paper on which the child had just kind of like drawn random squiggle crap.
Yeah, like 3 lines in a circle.
Yeah. So then what Mr. Squiggle would do is he would, using his pencil nose, turn them into an actual picture by connecting the squiggles up.
Yes.
So he connected all the lines. More often than not, and this was part of the fun of Mr. Squiggle, was the drawing would be upside down. So you could never guess what he was drawing.
Oh, what a conundrum.
Now, some people would say that's a fun little thing that he did. Others would say it's because the puppeteer was above the puppet, and the easiest way for him to draw using this pencil on the puppet's nose was to look down, so the picture had to be upside down.
Now, as we started talking about the anatomy of Mr. Squiggle and what he did, I had this very sudden realization that the pictures on that show that are drawn are very good, and they're done with a man with a marionette puppet's head with a pencil on it.
Live, in front of a camera.
That is, well, and also he's like, whilst he's making fodder, like he's talking whilst he's doing it. That's insane.
Yes.
I've never clocked that before.
No, it's quite talented. It's interesting, isn't it?
I can't draw a picture with my fucking hand, let alone a marionette's head.
Yeah, so he would manipulate the puppet, doing the drawing upside down, and
manipulate the puppet. Hey, fucking do it, or I will take everything you own.
No one's ever going to love you,
Mr. Squiggle Colt.
Yeah. So if it was upside down, he would jump up and down and declare upside down, upside down,
upside down.
And so he would always have an assistant. I think it was the same person, just this kind of woman that sat with him.
Yeah, well, it might have been Norman's wife.
Could have been.
The scriptwriter. But
I'm not sure.
You've always got to have that human element in these kids' shows.
Yeah. So she would write it up, put it the right way up.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. The other fun thing was he did all of his drawings on a blackboard.
Yes.
Who was alive.
He was.
And I think his name was Blackboard.
I think so.
Yeah.
Did you not do any,
No.
do you have any research here?
No, it is Blackboard. And Blackboard was a grumpy motherfucker.
He was a grumpy sod.
He did not like that it took Mr. Squiggle even a little bit of time to do these drawings. So he would often chime in with, hurry up.
Hurry up.
Something I find myself doing to like all the time.
Yeah.
If someone's in the way, like, hurry up.
It's as soon as the piece of paper went down, was the Blackboard was like, hurry up, let's go, come on.
What are you doing?
Yeah, he really hated Mr. Squiggle.
Yeah.
Probably because Mr. Squiggle was using a blackboard to put a piece of paper on to then draw on the paper rather than drawing on the actual blackboard.
Doesn't make a great deal of sense, but that's the way that this time was. So last episode went on to air just over 40 years after the first.
bonkers.
It was produced in 1997, but they had a contract up to 1999 or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
but like you said, after it, Hetherington actually owned all of the puppets still, but he has loaned them out. So at the National Film and Art Sound Archives, there's been exhibitions
In Canberra.
in Canberra. Australian Centre for Moving Images have had some
In Melbourne.
Yeah, and he's been on a few things. And, of course, 2019, February, they've started releasing the $2 coins to mark the 60th anniversary of the first broadcast of the program with pictures of Mr. Squiggle. And then there's blackboards on some of them, apparently, as
Hell
well.
yeah.
And then there's two that I don't remember very well. Gus the Snail.
Okay, Gus the Snail was cool. I remember Gus the Snail. He was a good character.
I don't really remember Gus the Snail. And also Bill the Steam Shovel.
That's what I said by tractor thing. Bill was like an orange, steam shovel, which I think means that it's more of like that conveyor belty thing where like he'd get the rocks and like bring them up or whatever. He had emphysema. Because
that's a good thing to have in a kids show. Yeah,
they didn't. It wasn't explicitly stated, but his whole
we
thing
all
was.
saw the medical records.
Yeah, he had like a tongue that like would hang out of his mouth, and he'd be like and like very puffed out all the time and coughing and spluttering because he was a steam engine thing.
Yeah. 40 years smoking will do that. Thing, yeah.
When you he's like the cast of Mad Men when they all started smoking and they got very, very sick. And he was like, "I want to stop, please." And they're like, "We need you." They let him vape after the 2000s for any recurring roles that he had. Yeah, but so it was a small cast of puppets like Squiggle, Blackboard, Gus, and what was the last one? Sorry,
Bill. Yeah.
So like that's a small cast of puppets, but all of them were very good.
Yeah, so that's the cast of the show. That's kind of what he did. He lived. So his address, if you want to send him anything,
I do.
I don't know if he's still at this address, but
we can try.
This was his address at the time. 93 Crater Crescent on the Moon. Yeah.
I'm sure the postman knows where to take that.
Yeah. If you put Mr. Squiggle.
Yeah, Senor Squiggle.
Yeah.
If you're in Spain.
Yeah, he'll probably appreciate the
mail after all these years.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite character?
Mr. Squiggle, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty easy with that one because it wasn't like one of those shows like Peppa Pig where the main character's a dickhead.
Yeah.
It was the main character was good. Back in my day, we liked the main characters of TV shows.
Bloody Peppa Pig, you dickhead!
Get out of here, Peppa. Yeah, like it was just a good show, and the theme song, "Mr. Squiggle, the man from the moon," or "On the moon." I don't remember if it was from
the moon. From the moon. Yeah.
I don't remember what the rest of the words were, but that was the main part.
Yeah.
And like the logo for it, I think was like, was it a circle with yellow? That's Arthur as well.
Yeah, it was like a circle with yellow. He kind of sat on it because he was the man from the moon. So like, the man from the moon sits on the moon.
You know how moon men sit on the moon.
Yeah.
The best thing that I got recently, which I did post pictures of, was that when we were at Comic-Con, I got that print from Natalie Watson. I'm pretty sure her last name is.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Natalie Michelle Watson, I think. Anyway. And it was Mr. Squiggle, and he'd done a drawing on the blackboard, but it was that S that you drew as a kid, where you did like the 3 lines and like stitched them all up. And I saw that and was immediately like, that needs to be in my possession because that's hilarious.
Yes.
He was the original graffiti artist. He is Banksy.
Yeah, I've heard that
Banksy.
rumor actually.
That one's going around. It's very hard for him to create those works with just a pencil on his nose.
Yeah, when did his work start to appear? I imagine it's probably around that 1999 period.
Yeah, maybe a little bit after, which means like it's primed for Squigs to be using it.
Yeah. I'm actually going to look this up because I'm interested to see.
This is a more arty episode for us.
What the crossover period
We're really
was.
focusing on his life's work, paying homage to the oeuvre of Squiggle. I think I used the word oeuvre correctly there. Tim's not listening, nor do I think he knows what the word oeuvre means, because I don't.
No,
oeuvre?
definitely.
Oeuvre. I'll just keep singing the song whilst Tim searches. Mr. Squiggle, the man.
So he started
from the moon.
Banksy started like in between 1990 and 1994, like as an amateur.
Yeah.
But I think that's when he started like
It's
to get
Squiggle.
famous. So I have a feeling Squiggle felt like he needed to express himself in a non-corporate setting.
Yeah. He didn't want notoriety.
At that time, the producers were really on his back about creating content that was appropriate. He wanted to explore more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there are two things that we want any artists to take out of this episode and create fan art for, it would be the Mr. Squiggle cult, where he is manipulated, so the cult of Squiggle.
Yes.
And it would be some Mr. Squiggle drawings where he is doing Banksies.
Yes.
Girls with little red balloons and those things.
That would be fun.
That's what I'm looking for. And as I have said before, we will not pay you.
No.
That's not our shtick.
We don't have any money.
We can't. The amount that we get from Patreon per month goes directly into our bank accounts, and we can't possibly take it back out again to pay you.
No. In a professional sense and in a personal sense, I cannot emphasize to you how little money we have.
For art, to support our friends. No, we love our friends. We support their art.
No.
Is that all on Squigs?
That's the Squig story, yeah.
Mr. Squiggle. So, like, that's across a number of generations. Like,
Yes, many
50,
generations.
well, beginning before 59. Was it 59 when the first...
Yeah, 59.
So beginning before 59, so somewhere in there. But then 59, through those different decades, like literally pretty much anyone that's over, the age of like 20, 21 or something?
My parents would have grown up with Mr. Squiggle.
Yeah, but anyone over the age...
They're in their 50s.
Anyone over the age of 21 right now, I think it is.
Yeah.
20 or 21. Was around for...
Would be aware of Mr. Squiggle.
For Squiggle. Like, they had some Squiggle for them, which is a large portion of our population.
Yeah.
It's cross-generational. It speaks across all gaps.
Yeah, he represents all people.
Bridging the gaps.
Yeah.
Mr. Squiggle was always a man of his word. I loved Mr. Squiggle. I still love Mr. Squiggle.
I'd like to know what type of pencil his nose is. Is it a 2B?
It was pretty thick.
It was thick.
So I'm saying
And
2B.
dark.
Well, are we talking about the pencil still? Wait. Actually, here's a fun game. If any of you feel like it, please send in your squiggles and Tim and I'll turn them into drawings.
Yes, using only our nose pencils.
That would actually be really fun to try and use just our nose on our phones to like draw on it.
That would be kind of fun.
Can you guys please get on board with this one? I know I ask you a lot, like drawing art for free, but just send us some squiggles and we'll do it. I used to play it a lot. Like if I was sitting around... I forget when I used to do it. I think it was when I had like a bit of a sketchbook with me at times, or just when I was like sitting in classes or whatever, being bored. We'd play Mr. Squiggle once in a while. I think my science teacher may have done it as well. But yeah, you'd do it. The one I always remember either myself doing or Mr. Squiggle doing was turning something into like an ice cream cone. I feel like that was an easy thing to do.
Ice cream cone's always an easy
if you
one.
had like a couple of lines, like things like that, or balloons or things.
Yep. Giraffes.
But yeah, if you want us to do some of our... And you've seen our art. We did Sausage Marine and Bodacious Slither all those years ago.
Talent. Absolute talent.
It's raw, unfiltered and uneducated talent.
Yeah.
We would love to do some Mr. Squiggles. Tim, what's that sound?
I don't know. What is it?
It's the Harold Holt Watch. All right, Tim. Hot off the press.
Oh,
In my hot little hands.
Yes.
In this hot room.
Yeah.
In this hot box.
I think it's going to catch on fire if it gets
Oh God, everything's so hot. Here we go. A Harold Holt Watch has been given to us. Dear Tim and Leon, my name is Fire, and I think I have spotted HH, a.k.a. Harold Holt.
Fire. How's that spelled?
F-Y-R-E.
Ah.
Whilst looking at the tickets for the Saboteurs, a.k.a. the Raconteurs, I clicked on the promotional video of JW, a.k.a. Jack White, smashing away with his rhythm sticks, a.k.a. drumsticks.
Yes.
I noticed something strange about this video, though. As the camera circled JW, I noticed that his hair was askew and he looked much older than normal.
Oh.
It was the kind of thing that you see and take no notice of, but then the image is burned into your mind.
I see.
When I saw the image again, in my mind this time,
Yeah.
I realized that I knew the face. It was HH.
Oh, the big H.
I hope this helps in your search for the big man. Keep up the great work. Please never tour to my city.
Yeah.
LOL, aka lots of love. F, aka fire.
Yes. Fire.
What a message.
What an
Cryptic.
what a message. What an unusually constructed message.
Yeah, what a strange way to write it. Whoever wrote that is either a lyrical genius or strange.
Illiterate.
HH in that video, I've just by crazy random happenstance have also seen this video.
Jack White.
Of Jack White circling around and smashing around some drums. And I did notice a bit of a difference in the way that he was playing, so it must have been the HH on there. The whole Raconteurs, Saboteurs thing.
Yeah.
So I was looking at tickets, again, crazy random happenstance. But I was looking at tickets for this because I love Jack White and
Sure.
I'm a fan of the work of the Raconteurs. And the press release said, the Saboteurs, aka the Raconteurs. And I was like,
Sorry, what?
you can't be one or the other. You either are the band or you're not the band.
Yeah.
You know when ABBA was in
That logic
Australia and we
works
called
out.
them Baba.
Yeah, that logic works out.
And so I did a quick Google, and Wikipedia was like, the Raconteurs, or the Raconteurs, how do you say that word? Anyway, and it was like AK Saboteurs in Australia. And I was like, why the fuck in Australia? You scroll down the Wikipedia article. There is a band in Queensland called Raconteurs, or the Raconteurs. They're a jazz band. They were offered a sum of money. From Jack White's Raconteurs to buy the name so that they could have it in Australia.
Sure.
This Queensland band, in true Queensland style, were like, no, we want more money.
We want more a sum of money.
And the people came back and rightfully so said no. And so therefore they have called themselves the Saboteurs when they come to Australia. I think because they're trying to like poke fun at destroying those other people.
I see.
But like, fucking get off your high horse. We had to change the name of our podcast begrudgingly for no money at all. From Yeah Nah Yeah to Yeah G'day.
Yeah.
And we did it because if we didn't, well, actually, no legal action would have happened. Shit, we should have just
stuck with it. Yeah.
That would have been so much easier. But yeah, so that's a bit of a weird thing that's happening in Australia right now. But HH might be there. Might be on the drums.
Keep your eyes out.
I think that does it for us.
That's this episode.
It is. A nice quick one. Get in there, get the Squiggle, get out. If you do get a Mr. Squiggle coin, if you don't send it to me, just stop listening to the show.
Yeah.
We don't need your listenership if you're not willing to share with me.
No.
And by share, I mean give.
Give. Permanently.
Just buy me one of those collections. They're like $50.
Hurry up.
Hurry up. As always, I'd like to thank Teylor Smirl for our wonderful cover art.
Curtis Fernance, Fern Tree music, introduction, outroduction, and Harold Holt music in this episode.
All the musics. He would have loved a bit of Squigs.
Yeah, I reckon he would have watched it for sure.
Probably more of a Gus the Snail, I think he'd be into. Bit of a Gus man.
Yeah, Gus did build up quite a cult following.
Oh, yeah.
And then actually after the show ended, an actual cult
Yeah,
for a
that's what I'm
period
saying.
of time. Yeah.
The cult of Squiggle, then there was also the side cult called Gus. So that's good stuff. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rate, review, subscribe, shove this in a friend's ears, stick it in their nose, do whatever you need to do so that they hear it. And send your squiggles in so that Timmy and I can have some fun for you kids and turn them into a bit of art.
Yes.
It'll probably be a lot of dicks, really.
Mostly
a
dicks.
lot of dicks. That would have also been a good like sketch on like the Late Show back then. No, not Late Show. The Tonight Show. What was that show called? Wasn't it the Late Show?
Yeah. The comedy.
The comedy show with like Tony Robbins and stuff. They should have done a Mr. Squiggle segment where he just drew dicks.
Yeah.
And if they did do that, great minds think alike.
Well done.
Good stuff as always. Yeah, g'day Tim.
Yeah, g'day Leon.
Yeah, g'day everyone.
Yeah, g'day everyone. Catches on the flippity flop.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.